Hello everybody, my name is Connor and I'm here with a little bit of a different video. I'm going to talk about what I think is going to get banned in the next ban, which is happening on March 16th. Now, before we get too far into this video, I do want to say that I was inspired to make this video by the Luffy TCG, one of my favorite One Piece content creators. You guys know I've talked about him a bunch. I really liked his video on the potential ban cards, and he gave some really good insight that I probably can't give you, but I can agree with his insight, so I'm going to link his video down below if you want to see his thoughts. And I got a decent amount of my thoughts and some new opinions from that video, so I do highly recommend checking it out. So if you don't know, bans are happening on March 16th at this event that I put right here, very cool. And I think we have the potential to see some really interesting bans. I also feel like we have the potential to be completely blindsided by some bans. I feel like every time they ban something, I'm confident in being like, oh yeah, this card's too good, they're gonna ban it, and then they don't. So Vi wants to go to the next slide. Here's some cards that I think could be banned and probably should be banned. We have Jinbei. If you don't know, Jinbei, very good in the 7 Warlords package, really makes the 7 Warlords package an option. He plays out another 7 Warlords or with a cost 4 or less. And now, at this point in the game, there's a lot of 7 Warlords. I mean, Blue Dofi is one of the best decks in the meta right now. And being able to cheat with Jinbei, Dofi ability, cheat out Jinbei, cheat out another card, I think it's just a little bit too strong of a way to flood board. And including, this is a card that I forgot to mention in my slideshow, is the Bounce Law. Being able to cheat out Jinbei, Bounce Law, remove a body, and have that 1k. Really good. So I think that they're definitely going to, well, I'm not going to say definitely, but I think it's wise if they hit the 7 Warlords package, because you could put that in any blue deck and make it very viable. I've heard some people talk about the Boa Blocker getting banned, and I think she's good, but she's like so good because you can cheat her off of Jinbei. I think cheating her off of Dofi ability doesn't make her that great because she's a blocker who comes in rested. Sure, she gets to add the Dawn, but she comes in rested. She's not going to be able to block the first turn that she's, comes in, because she is coming in rested, and she's only a 4 cost, so a 4 cost and a 6k. I don't think that stat line is too big, so I don't think she's going to get hit, but I think Jinbei is something that could get hit. And in the same vein of cheating out cards, I do have Rebecca and Gecko. I think Gecko's really good. I think he's very generic, and I think that's the problem, is that he's so generic he can be played in every black deck. I thought that they should ban... I thought Gecko should have gotten the ban a while ago, but they don't really ban him. But I think that the main issue, and this is something that Luffy TCG brought up, that I said, oh, okay, yeah, the fact that Gecko can grab a Rebecca from trash, and Rebecca is the 4-cost blocker. Rebecca is very strong. I know she's not played really in the new Usopp deck, but you have the potential to play her in, Rebecca, blue-black Rebecca, and I think that blue-black is probably one of the strongest color combinations in the game. That's why Sakazuki got the hit, and I don't think Sakazuki will be coming back, but we will talk about that a little later. But yeah, I just think that the Gecko-Rebecca combo is too strong, but I think that it can be nerfed by banning Rebecca. But I'm not sure if they will do that. Rebecca and Gecko are 2 cards that they've printed several times, several different arts. Which I think they both have like championship versions or very high-end special versions. I think Gecko got a PRB, I think a PRB reprint. So I don't know if they're going to ban Gecko, but I think banning Rebecca would be a way to make Gecko less useful. And then he could still be optimized in black, yellow Luffy. I do have a feeling that they don't... Part of the reason I think they don't ban Gecko is because he makes black, yellow Luffy so good. And I think that they want black, yellow Luffy or a Luffy leader to be the best deck in format. Logically, it just makes sense to me. He's the strongest character in One Piece, arguably. And the main character. He's got main character syndrome, so potentially that is why they aren't banning Gecko, or part of the reason. But with green, purple Luffy coming out, they may think about it. Yeah, and I got some thoughts on green, purple Luffy as well. So next, I think that these two cards can get banned. Gum Gum Giant. I love Gum Gum Giant. I think it's very good, but I also think it's too good. It gets too much value. It's a counter, gets me +4, boosts me all the way up to 9k, and I get to cycle some garbage out of my hand, or some bricks out of my hand. It's really strong. And while in Purple Luffy and Black Purple Luffy and Robin, I feel like it's very easy to... Well, I don't want to say very easy. It's annoying, but it's not, like, ridiculous, in my opinion, in those decks. I feel like in Green Purple Luffy, that deck is very strong, and I feel like giving him tools like Gum Gum Giant is a lot. Granted, you know, he is Straw Hat leader locked, but there's so many purple Straw Hats. I think that the Straw Hat crew is one of the most, you know, has the most types cards in the game. You guys know what I mean. So I think that there is a strong chance that Gum Gum Giant will be hit. Now this card hasn't come out, but the 5-cost Kuzan, you guys are gonna hear this a lot. I hate Blackbeard. I hate playing against Blackbeard, and I think that that's something that Bandai knows. Not specifically that I hate it, but I think that a lot of people don't like playing into Blackbeard because you don't get to play your deck. Like, you don't, like, I don't know. Every time I play into Blackbeard, I'm like, this isn't fun. I'm straight up not having a good time. So I think that it's possible that they are going to try and nerf Blackbeard. And I think that Blackbeard right now, he's okay. He's annoying, but he's playable, or play against a bull, I guess. But this Kuzan seems really good. And I think that it's possible that it kind of sucks because it makes Blackbeard meta. I feel this Kuzan does. It also, I feel, makes him a little too good. And one thing that Luffy TCG said in his video that I think is a really great point is that Bandai is a company, and they care about, or they should care about, user, you know, engagement and user enjoyment. And if somebody, as I said, I never have a good time playing against Blackbeard. I think once I've had a good time playing against the Blackbeard, but just being able to turn off those on-play abilities is just so annoying, especially in, like, a lot of decks. A lot of decks have on-play abilities, which, yeah, you could argue, like, well, that's your fault for playing decks with on-play abilities, but I know, like, Lucci has a way to tech around the on-play abilities, and he's kind of, you know, moved away from the Gecko-Rebecca combo, but I don't know. I just think that Blackbeard isn't a fun leader to play against. Granted, he can be very fun to play. I've never played Blackbeard, and probably never will. Just doesn't appeal to me. And I think that it's a deck that you do need skill to pilot. I won't deny that. But I just think he's too good, and I think this Kuzan, I'll read it to you guys. I'm sure you guys have read it by now, but this character cannot be removed from the field by your opponent's effects. First off, another thing Luffy TCG said is they keep printing the answer to, you know, colors in the same color. They put banish in yellow. They put you cannot be removed in black. Things of that nature, and that's very frustrating. I think that this card becomes incredibly hard for other colors to remove, and I think that that's kind of an issue. I also feel like I just really don't like the cost minusing mechanic of black. I think it's kind of like, black decks are usually, for me at least, in my opinion, they're not fun to play against because you just sit there and watch as they dismantle your board. There's no way you can counterplay that. And so that's why I personally don't necessarily like black decks. I don't think that they're bad. I think that Lucci is okay. I think banning Stage and his lobby was really good for Lucci. And, you know, having Lucci move away from Gecko, like, that makes sense. Okay, like, it's still not bad, or it's still not great, but I just really, the cost minusing, it does not feel great, in my opinion. But when you activate main, you can trash Kuzan, draw 1 card, then play up to 1 Blackbeard Pirate type character card with a cost of 5 or less other than Kuzan from your trash. So another thing Luffy said is this is how you get Jesus Burgess back on board. And there is nothing in this game, like in Union Arena, there is a sideline, which is your trash, and then there's removal, which is, you know, I can't remember what it's called in Magic, but it's you can't get those cards back. And I think that if they want to do things like this, they need to have something like that, because being able to just continually, like, oh, cool, I finally got rid of Jesus Burgess. Oh, he's back. and he's back again. Just being able to cycle the same problem card over and over and just bring him back, I think is A, not fun, and B, like, kind of a problem. But of course, my opinion, that's my thoughts. Feel free to disagree. I won't take it personally. I think that having different opinions is what makes people so interesting. So our next slide here is the leaders. I think that there is a chance that Blackbeard could get banned, not because he's good, but because he, as I mentioned, and something that, as I mentioned, that Luffy TCG mentioned, Bandai is a company. They want user engagement. They want to be able to, they want people to keep playing and buying product and stuff. And I think that playing Blackbeard, if Blackbeard becomes like the main deck in my local scene, I may take a break from One Piece. I just don't think he's very fun to play against. And I think that that's a problem. And I put Dofi up here as well because I just think Dofi with Jinbei and the 7 Warlords package is really good. I don't want them to ban Dofi, and realistically, I don't really want them to ban Teach. I just want Teach to not be meta, if that makes sense. And I don't think that Dofi should be banned, but I think that if he hinder the 7 Warlords package, especially in the Jinbei, I think that Dofi will be able to be played, and it won't be too much of a pain, but they may just go right for the leaders. I think that they could have, that's kind of what I feel they did with Red Purple Laws. They went right for the leader, but that's also they would have to fix a lot of cards to make it so Red Purple Law could come back as is. So these are a couple cards that I think might get banned, but it's like very slim. I think there's a chance that 10-cost Shanks can get banned. I think that the fact that he's not type locked and that he has this very generic ability, all of your opponent's characters have minus 1,000 and you gain rush without type locking, I think is really good. I mean, you could just throw him in any red deck and instantly, if you can find your 10-cost Shanks and live long enough to play them, I don't feel like there is a big... With most 10-cost bodies, there's, it feels bad to play Tendon. Big Mom has the ability to trash a life and gain a life, so there's that benefit, but she can't swing immediately. With Shanks, I feel like not only are you hindering your opponent's board by minusing them by 1,000 or 2,000 depending on how many Shanks you have, but you get to swing into something with 12,000, and usually at that point in the game, it is hard to counter out of my even like my Luffy Taro, let's say, which is 8k, I believe. It's hard to then counter out. Now he's a 7k because of Shanks, and I have to protect my life. I have to protect my board. It costs a lot of resources. So I think there is a very slim chance he's gonna get hit. I don't think he's worth hitting realistically because I think he's annoying, sure, but I don't think he's a problem. I don't think Red is really that great right now. I think Red is good. I think Shanks is really good, and I think that Red has the potential to come back. And we'll talk a little bit about that later, but I don't think that Shanks is worth hitting. I also have the starter deck Marshall D. Teach. Place one card from your hand at the top of your deck, attach 2 rested onto one of your leaders or characters. I think that this card's really good. It's not type locked, so I can play it in something like Blue Yellow Queen, and it kind of, in my opinion, makes Queen a possibility. But realistically, I don't think it's gonna get hit. I've heard some people saying like, "Oh, it should be hit," but I don't think it'll be hit. I think that it is good, but I mean, whenever I'm playing a Dofi and they play a Teach down, it's super annoying, don't get me wrong, but they are also, I feel like they slim out their hand for me, if that makes sense. Because if they play, Teach, put a Jinbei up there, then they, play something else that's like 2 cards out of their hand, Granted, it's annoying because the board is now flooded and I have to deal with that, but on the other hand, they've gotten rid of a ton of their body, or a ton of cards in hands. So I think it could be hit, but I don't really think it's worth being hit. And I hope you guys kind of understand why. I'm not doing it. This video is not scripted. I'm just trying to do it all off my head. And yeah, I feel like I'm presenting my cases fairly well, except for Blackbeard. All my homies hate Blackbeard. I hate Blackbeard. I'm my only homie. this is what I want to be banned. I really want Blackbeard to be banned. I think the 10 cost, 10 for 12 blocker Blackbeard that negates leader ability and a on-play ability is too much. I will appreciate that it's themed and it works really well with Blackbeard, but I just want to play my deck. You know, like, I built this deck, I enjoy this deck, and when you're turning off my deck abilities, like, it's annoying. And then you put these giant, like, 12k blockers in there that I can't get around. I can't rest them. I can't, unless I'm playing green. Hody can rest them, but, like, none of the usual, like, I think Hody's the only card that can rest the blockers. And then, you know, you play one, you keep them up, I swing at you, you just block easy, and then you play another, and then you swing the first one. Like, it's just, it kind of just, I'm gonna lean back into it's not fun to play against. So I don't want to play against it. I don't think it'll be banned, as I mentioned, but I would like it to go. I think that it's not, I do like alternate win conditions, like Nami. I think Nami's annoying to play against, but I think that she isn't worthy of a ban. I think she's easily beatable if you kind of know how. And Teach, just, if he sees the nuts, he sees the nuts, and you're cooked. And, you know, as a predominantly purple player, I have to have Bond play in my deck to, you know, meet that aggression, and then I can swing a 12k, you know. Doesn't feel great, but, yeah, I don't think he'll get hit. This is what I think will get banned. I feel like Jinbei has a very good chance of being banned. I also feel like Giant has a very good chance of being banned. I feel like both of those cards are just really good in their respective colors, and removing them, I think, would make their deck still viable, but less dominating. And I don't even feel like Purple Luffy is really dominating that much, but I do worry about Green Purple Luffy. We've seen it a bunch in the East, and Green Purple Luffy seems very much like a tyrant and just kind of dominating the scene. I think I haven't seen the finals yet, but I think the finals was Green Purple Luffy versus Smoker, which I think is great. I'm really hype on Smoker right now, so that's awesome. But I think that nerfing or getting rid of Gum Gum Giant would ultimately suck for Purple Luffy, but he'd still be viable. And I think the same could be said about Green Purple Luffy. Granted, I haven't done a lot of research into Green Purple Luffy, but from what I've seen and what I understand, that I think that the Gum Gum Giant being banned would suffice in enough of a nerf for Green Purple Luffy. I have Teach up here solely because, as I mentioned, Bandai, this is a point that Luffy TCG brought up. I'm going to say it again, and I think I really agree with it. Bandai is a company. If people are not having fun with their products, they will lose money, and that's not good for companies. Granted, they do have plenty of other card games, Union Arena, Dragon Ball, Gundam, you know, so they have their ways to make money, but I think that Teach is something they might look at and go, oh, we don't really know, like, this was great, but people are, you know, we liked this idea, but people are negatively reacting to this idea. Maybe we ban them. I don't think it's possible. I don't think it's likely, excuse me. I think it is possible, but I don't think it's highly likely, but I did want to include him. Another character, I don't think I have him on the slide, Dofi. I think there's a chance they might just ban Dofi, but I think that realistically banning Jinbei would really humble the Dofi leader, so I think that's honestly what they should do. So I am going to go ahead and discuss some potential unbans. I know people are talking about unbans, and yeah, so I wanted to give my thoughts. My first opinion on the leaders, Red Purple Law. I love Red Purple Law. Let me state that. Let me state that Red Purple Law was the first deck I played and was consistently able to do okay with. I love Red Purple Law. I think he's a very fun. I think he's too good. I don't think he's coming back, guys. I just feel like he is kind of that, something I mentioned earlier. He's too broad. There's no restriction on what type of characters he can play with a 4 cost or lower, you know, from his hand. If there was restrictions, and I think that's something that One Piece struggles with. It's the same with Gecko, the same with Rebecca. And I think potentially they are fixing it, especially with, I just recorded the Usopp video today. And I think that it's, they've really kind of made restrictions in that Rebecca, and they've made her cheaper or like expensive and not as big. I think that's what they should have done with Gecko, and I think that that's kind of the direction they're heading. So I don't think Law is coming back. He's got Errata for a reason, and unfortunately, his Errata is garbage, and we're gonna have to live with that. Sakazuki, on the other hand, I don't think he's coming back because he's Errata, but I also just don't know if he's even still good. I feel like he has the potential to still do very well, but as we mentioned, Black-Blue is one of the strongest combinations in the game. But I think that his activate main is too general, too good, and then he, being able to have both the, cycle the card in your hand, get it free, easy to get a card in the trash. If there was something, if they implemented something like the removal area in Union Arena, where it's, there's sideline, which is the equivalent of your trash, you can take things out of your trash. Removal, unable to bring them back to the game. If they implemented something like that, I don't think they will. I think that would actually be kind of a bad idea for One Piece, especially at this point in its life. I could see Sakazuki coming back if they did something like that, but that's like a really long shot. I don't think he's coming back. I think we are stuck with the Errata. And I'm okay with that. Sakazuki was miserable to play against. Next, I'm going to talk about the 2 stages that are banned. We have Enies Lobby and Moby Dick. Enies Lobby, I think, is going to stay banned. I think it's very good just to get that free -2 on any turn, just for an easy rest. You play it 2 dawn, 1 turn, but then it's just -2 every single turn. If you guys didn't know, I played Lucci during Enies Lobby, and I did really well, which should say enough. I am not good at playing black decks. I just can't play them. But I think it's too good. I think it's going to stay banned. Now, Moby Dick, on the other hand, I do think this card is good. If you have 1 or less light cards, you're Edward Newgate, and all characters with a type, including Whitebeard Pirates, gain plus 2,000 power. Plus 2,000 power on your turn it's pretty good. I think that there's a very slim chance I think it could come back. Because while plus 2,000 power is good, I don't think it's that good anymore. I feel like we've kind of, from the older sets, the OP2, OP3, OP1, things like that, we've kind of power scaled out of like the big numbers. Like Newgate, 9-cost Newgate, he's not as good as he once was. He's still good, but Newgate used to be a monster, and he's kind of been out power scaled, if you ask me. So I do think there's a slim chance they'll bring this back, but since they have the Moby Dick in blue, I don't think they will. I think they're in the thought of, once it's banned, keep it banned. But I could always be wrong, and I think having Moby Dick come back would be really, really cool to see, Newgate be meta viable again, and I think he would be able to help out Marco as well. But again, I do think that it could, if they brought Moby Dick back, it could be a bit of an issue again with the power scaling. Who knows? But I think that they probably won't bring either of these stages back. Next, we're going to talk about the 3 cards that are banned. Kabaji. So if you guys don't know, I'm a Nami player. I played Nami for the first 6 months that I played One Piece, and I lost most of my games. I think Kabaji is too good. Nami is a deck that it's not interactable in the same vein as Blackbeard. I think she's in a position right now where she's not fun to play against, but you can play against her and you can beat her. It's annoying, but I think that I don't think Kabaji is coming back. I think that combination, that package, the Kabaji emoji package, is just too strong and helps Nami mill too fast. I'm going to go ahead and actually talk about Reject next. You can either, if you don't know what Reject is, OP06, you can KO an opponent's 5 cost or lower, or you just trash one of their lives. It's a very good card, but I do feel like I don't know, maybe because I'm a yellow player, I don't feel like it really deserved the ban, but it definitely made yellow really strong, and I guess in Calgara, since it is Shandorian warrior type, it would make Calgara like crazy good, which isn't a bad thing, but I just don't think they're going to bring it back. I think that being able to, for 4 Dawn pop a 5 cost is really good, and just doing a damage to their life for fun. I think is pretty strong, so I don't think they're going to bring it back. And same with Great Eruption. I don't see Great Eruption coming back. Just being able to, for one Dawn, minusing something by 2 and replacing it in your hand, it's just too good. And another card which Great Eruption reminded me of, another card that Great Eruption reminded me of that I forgot to mention in my earlier part of this video is Ice Age. I think Ice Age should be banned. I've always hated Ice Age, but I don't think it'll get touched. Just one Dawn minusing 5 cost is insane. And I think it should be hit, but it probably won't be hit because I think that I think that Great Eruption is a granted it's only minusing by 2, but it does replace the card in hand, and that is not great. So I don't see much coming unbanned. The only thing I could see potentially getting unbanned would be Sakazuki, maybe, and that's a far stretch. I feel like these cards are kind of I feel like the cards they've banned don't really have a place in the game right now. I could maybe see, as I mentioned, Moby Dick getting unbanned, but I'm also worried that if Moby Dick does get unbanned, it's kind of just gonna be a Whitebeard Pirates meta again, and we've had several Whitebeard Pirates metas at this point. I know Newgate got banned for a little bit, and yeah, I don't know. I don't see them unbanning these cards. I think that the game is playing relatively well with these cards banned, and with a couple of tweaks, I think that the game's gonna be in a pretty good, a really good spot. I think that the ones I mentioned, I think Gum Gum Giant and Jinbei getting banned will be really good for the game. I also feel like banning, I feel like banning Teach could be good, but I feel like banning that Kuzan could really help too. So that's kind of my thoughts on the bans, what I think is gonna happen. I usually am wrong. I still, even though I've been playing this game for about 2 to 3 years now, I've been playing since 04, end of 03. I'm still very new to card games in general. Like, One Piece is the first card game that I've really jumped into, and I think that I still have a bit to learn. So, I think that there's potential. There's potential I could be very wrong. I don't have any insider information or any of that, but I just wanted to kind of share my thoughts, and it seemed like you guys were kind of interested to hear what I had to say. And some of you weren't, which is totally understandable. I didn't know if I would really bring anything new to the table and new to the conversation, but just getting my thoughts out there has been nice and kind of fun. So if you guys made it this far, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys like this video, hit that like button down below. It helps me out more than you can ever know. Go ahead and subscribe if you are new, and I will see you guys in the next video. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day.